Take a look at shares of the pot company backed by John Boehner, Acreage Holdings. The stock went public today in Canada. And we're joined now by Acreage Holdings CEO Kevin Murphy. Kevin, great to have you with us.
Great to be with you, and thank you for having me.
Congratulations on your Canadian debut. I got to ask you what you plan on doing with that money and how you're allocating that to give us an idea of where you see the most growth in the future. Is it for U.S. expansion? Is it for the full legalization and legalization of edibles in a couple of years in Canada? Is it abroad? How are you allocating the money?
We're U.S. focused today with 33 states with a medical program and 10 of which have an adult use program. We have a lot of work to do here in the United States. Today, we have 18 states. We look to expand quite quickly to the rest of the states and be a dominant player in the United States.
Recently, in the past, 10 days or so, Kevin, there seemed to be a growing belief that things would change or could change drastically in the United States in terms of legalization. Pete Sessions is out. Jeff Sessions is out. A couple of states at least partially legalized marijuana for medical and or recreational use. What do you see the landscape looking like in a couple of years?
We could not be more excited about the opportunity today. At this moment in time, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. We have the opportunity now, with the House changing over and compassionate care advocates like Congressman Joyce and others being elected to office, and others that have been naysayers historically about the cannabis space are being elected out of office. From our vantage point, we could not be in a better position for 2019 to pass the States Act.
So it's your thinking that this is a bipartisan issue and you've got the biggest voices against cannabis legalization out of the way at this point. Should that be in your valuation? Should that be factored into Acreage's valuation?
We think we have a very fair valuation today, and today is our first day of trading. We couldn't be more excited about being a public company and having the optionality with that balance sheet. With that, we're going to look to utilize it in a prudent manner to maximize returns for our investor base.
All right. Kevin, you're at the Marijuana Business Daily Conference, and our contributor, Tim Seymour, is in Vegas for that conference as well. He's got a question for you, Tim.
Yes, I am. It's a shame I'm not standing next to you, Kevin. But I think congrats on the performance to this point. Your investors have done very well by investing in your company. How should we be judging you going forward? I think a lot of investors are concerned about investing in the sector and trying to understand valuations. How can we keep up with Acreage and really determine whether you guys are doing what you said you're supposed to do? We expect you will.
Thank you, Tim. Today we have a pole position in the United States. We have 18 states, and we look to grow from here. Our view is from here, it's the goal to capture the rest of the United States and the rest of the illicit market. We're in the early innings of this industry. 10 years ago, this industry didn't exist. Today, it's the fastest growing industry in the United States of America. And all we're striving for now is a fair tax code with the elimination of 280E and better banking for everyone in the industry. With that, today the regulated market is a $9 billion market. It's estimated that this market today is between $100 and $200 billion in size in the U.S. alone. It's our ball to drop, and our goal now is to capture the rest of the country.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much. Hope you'll check back with us sometime soon and give us your progress report. Kevin Murphy of Acreage Holdings on his Canadian market debut. Now, by the way, Tim is long a number of names, also sits on advisory boards for 3 cannabis stocks. And for all of Tim's disclosures, you can go to fast.cnbc.com. But Tim, we mentioned that you were at the conference. What are some of the big themes there?
Well, the bottom line is, first of all, Acreage is coming public today. Harvest, Jardin, there's enormous capital markets pipeline. That speaks to the amount of interest and seriously the opportunity. This is the biggest conference by far that this growing industry has ever seen, and it's in fact dwarfed anyone of its kind. The sophistication of both the investors and, frankly, the operators that I've met with. I've met with 15 different companies that are dedicated consumer brands companies. So the stuff that's most interesting to me is what I'm seeing in terms of OTC pain, wellness, again, led by consumer products veterans, frankly, who I think are going to be building companies that are going to be around for a long time, sitting side by side everybody else.
I mean, the pharmaceutical market, Pete, is enormous. Just the use of CBD, which is the non-THC component of the cannabis plant, Pete. I mean, are you in Vegas for this conference too, or are you just sitting by the pool?
I'm actually here for this conference as well, and involved similarly to Tim. And I'll tell you what's really interesting. If you go back 3 years ago, there were 50 booths. Now there's 1,500. That gives you a little bit of the scope of what we're seeing here right now, which is unbelievable. And I know Tim's talked to this many different times. I do lean towards the medical side of what could be used here. CBD oil, no THC, some of that type of idea. There are so many different ways, Mel. The most difficult thing we all have to deal with right now is we have to deal with the legalization aspects of it, but also trying to figure out who's going to win in this whole thing and how do you put on valuations on some of these companies. That's what makes this so complicated, and that's why there are so many participants, because there are opportunities in every different aspect of what cannabis really does offer us.
Okay, guys, we do have a quick update on Nordstrom earnings, so let's go to Eric Chemi for the details. Eric.
Well, listen, Nordstrom shares getting hit in after-hours trading on weak revenue guidance for the year. For the current quarter, quick clarification, though, it looks like they beat expectations on EPS. Earlier, Refinitiv, a company that puts out earnings expectations, compared to an unadjusted number, which would have been a big miss. Bottom line, they beat by a penny, but the shares are still down on that guidance. Back to you.